as we get older, we start to think more and more of our own mortality, and then what's what is left that one has touched, and he has touched so much within this company so deeply. It would not be the company it is today by any means without his support. And again, I don't just mean financial, but the love and the care he has given. And his nickname, Care Bear, is justly named.
I mean, it's very unique in the world of ballet today to have someone with James's talent leading a ballet company. A choreographer who's also the artistic director is pretty rare. And the great ones like Balanchine put their stamp on the company forever. James is doing that. He has a very clear vision about the company and where it's going, and providing him with a resource, which is what Walter has done, to try things, to choreograph things that are unique to us. Nobody else sees them unless we take them on tour. Really, it has a huge effect.
Walter's a smart man. He's an intellectual man when you give him things to look at as possible, things he might want to support. He really wants to know about it, and he studies it. I remember him studying Firebird, which was the next one he did for us, which was the co-production. And he really studied the score, he studied the story, he wanted to know how it was all going to work, how it was going to go on. He came to every performance of it. So it's been a very great creative experience for me, and it was because of him that you know, I was able to take that particular dream and get it onto the stage.
Just redoing the Romeo and Juliet that he underwrote in '96, I believe. I mean, I was in that production, and just being part on that stage of that unbelievable set and those unbelievable costumes.
I think they are so lucky to have such a gentleman, someone who is so generous and obviously loves ballet, and his interest in it in all aspects is special, very special. That he becomes so involved in the production of the pieces, and the fact that he has supported the company in so many areas, in so many ways, is very special.
He has helped us to get into the air many times, many times, and I have such wonderful memories of what he's contributed to my years with the National Ballet of Canada and my own personal career. One of the great experiences I had was working with James Kudelka for the Mozart Festival, creating this gem of a piece, a small ballet called Musings, which was titled Farewell initially. And I was a part of that cast. That ballet wouldn't have happened in that festival if it weren't for Walter's generosity.
And when I found out that we were going to get the Taming of the Shrew, thanks to Walter Carsen, I was just over the moon. And getting to actually perform it in my career was a very important thing for me.
I think Walter Carsen in the last few years has been this organization. I think that we almost wouldn't exist had it not been for Walter. And having this wonderful home is really very special. I know no one who has been quite so generous in the arts, and especially to the National in Canada as Walter.
I think that Walter Carsen is the marvelous kind of philanthropist. He is somebody who has a great deal of money. He also has taste. He also has judgment. He also has his passions. And so he is able to say, you know, I think that I will support the National Ballet in this way. I think I'll support the Shaw Festival in that way. I think I'll give, you know, 150 works of art to the Art Gallery of Ontario because they should have this. He does everything with a purpose and everything with a meaning, and he is a really wonderful person because of that.
Well, it's always nice to know that there's somebody out there who can see from the outside what's being done, and that's one of the greatest things about Walter, he actually understands the process of it. And it started here in this building end of the Show Festival when he came to us and said, I want to do something for the actors. And he paid for the actors' bar to be renovated underneath here. That was the start. So he started with the bar, and then he got to really like us, I think. And we had started, the board had started, to renovate this place, to turn it into what it is today. And we'd started and got about as far as 10 feet into the auditorium. We'd done the brass arch and then we'd stopped. And of course we'd run out of money. And so Walter came and saved us.
It must be 12 years or so
ago,
even more than that,
yeah.
15 years ago. But he didn't stop caring. You know, he continues to care. He continues to be an important part of the company. Maybe 5 years ago, the front of the Royal George Theatre was starting to look a little bit worse for wear, and Walter was the one that came to us and said, I think it's time we paint it again. Can I help? You know, he's pretty remarkable. Even to this day, there's a lovely tradition that Walter always provides roses for the front lobby of the Royal George Theatre on an ongoing basis.
One of the terrific things about Walter, and it comes through in so many ways, is that his commitment to the art gallery, like his commitment to other great institutions in this city and elsewhere through Canada, it's an organic connection. It's on many different levels, and one of the wonderful things about Walter has been his commitment to the staff at the AGO over many years and other volunteers, where he's really become part of a community and is known so warmly on a first-name basis, and as somebody who has worked closely with staff and volunteers to raise our aspirations and to realize some of our dreams. And it's that connection with who we are as people as well as an institution. Maybe in the end what Walter says is institutions are people, and therefore we have to make them work on that basis.
Well, Walter is a great friend to those of us who work in the trenches, the people on the front lines, and he adores this study center. He said the last time he was here, you know, I love the Print and Drawing Study Center. One would want to be here forever. But a nice example of how much he cares about the actual consulting of the collections occurred when we first had this facility open to the public. We had a major problem because we didn't have a computer here in the vault. And Walter was horrified. We couldn't find one of his prints, and so he said, but you don't have your own computer? You know, and so he said, I will buy a computer for you. And indeed he did, and so he wanted to make it as easy as possible for us to get things out for people.
Well, we got a call one day at the office, and a gentleman identifying himself as Walter Carsen called to say how upset he was, how distraught he was about the problem of the homeless people on our streets. And we could hear in his voice the emotion, and we met with him, and really he was moved to tears, and we were moved by the depth of his feelings. But he didn't just talk about his feelings, he actually said, I want to do something practical. He made a significant donation which seeded the new homelessness fund that we wanted to create. And actually we named the fund after him. So, and that fund went on over the period of years to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for homeless people, and also to raise awareness, I think just as important, to raise awareness that this was just wrong. We had to do something, people had to act through personal action, we needed government action. And so I am very honored to be part of this evening to celebrate a wonderful philanthropist, Walter Carsen.
The fact of his being an artist is, I think, shown in his son, because Robert is a superb artist and a great creative force, I think, in the opera and theater world today.
It's important. I think the great worry for all of these institutions is where's the audience of the future, to cultivate that and make sure that you have the next generation of people to whom these things will be as meaningful. And I think my father's aware of that as well. He's always, I think that's always very interesting. He's never dwelt on the past, my father. He's always lived in the present with an eye on the future. And I think that's also one of the reasons why he's in the good shape physically and mentally that he is at his age. And I think that also comes, he's always had this ability not to dwell on the past. mistakes or achievements. Just, you know, just keep going. It's great.
The Walter Carsen Award arrived very suddenly and as a complete surprise to me. I was not aware of the enormity of his philanthropy and how extensive it was. And here is a man who says, I can support this ballet, I can support this opera, what is it going to cost, can I help here? And the fact that it was administered by the Canada Council, the Walter Carsen Award, gave it a great deal of legitimacy. So it had a lot of resonance, and it will continue to have resonance. I know John Morrell, the second winner of it, a very cultured man at Banff, playwright, and the fact that it's moved from this end of Canada to that end of Canada, I think is obliquely very interesting and speaks well for the way the award is being administered.
As a philanthropist who gets involved with the companies and the festivals that he does become friends, and everybody loves him. And the Care Bear title that he has is a wonderful one.
In a broader perspective, he's just one of the most important people in the arts in Canada, and I don't think you can say that enough, how committed he is to cultural institutions and the National Ballet of Canada.
He's a dream maker. He allows people to realize their creations, their creative spirit.
I think it is a true sense of building culture in the country that you live in, and hopefully the country that you love, Canada. Without people like Walter, who's really such an inspirational role model in our society, you know, the arts would be much further behind than where we are now. You know, we can't rely that much anymore on government funding. We need individuals to show their appreciation of the arts and to make sure that our art form, what I do, ballet, is still there for generations to come.
So much of what we do isn't the actual check changing hands and the production going on. It's really about his setting an example to the community of how not only the National Ballet's life has improved so much because of his knowing us and us knowing him, but how his life has gained, I think, just because you can see how happy he is. You can see through his tears how happy he is when he sees the company perform.
I was very moved when I was nominated the Angel for the Performing Arts in New York. I had to see a few words there, and but I mean, it makes you feel good when what you do helps other people to get involved and understand certain things that you know a little more. And so you help them both to do something that needs to be financed and improved, if you wish, or added. And at the same time you instill people with new thoughts about a wonderful part of our life, the arts. Whether they're performing or visual, doesn't matter.
You know, everyone who's involved in this organization, and those of us who dance or have danced, we have such a love of the art form. And it's not very often that we meet someone outside the art form who has the same love for it. And I think that's what really astonished me about Walter, was his huge capacity to love this art form, even though he didn't dance himself. And it was kind of affirming too, you know, that someone could grow up and watch it and believe in its importance so much and want to be so generous to the art form, and he was. I mean, there are too few Walter Carsens. I mean, he's an amazing man.